The following account is an instance of how we are sometimes made aware of the fact of Mother's omnipresence and omniscience. It happened at the Varanasi or Banaras ashram. That ashram, apart from its sanctity, is one of the beauty spots of the city. Even tourists often come to see it. It is situated right on the banks of the Ganges, built on an elevated foundation overlooking the river. The terrace and the roofs command an extensive and inspiring view over the Ganges, perhaps more than elsewhere. The Ganges has a great natural beauty. In the rainy season, it becomes flooded and gives the impression of a huge lake. To the left, the crescent of the Ghats up to the Dufferin Bridge spreads out. In the dark of night, the funeral pyres may be seen burning at the Manakarnika Ghat, standing out like signposts to remind us in the eternal city of the impermanence of all that is born. And to the left, on the opposite river bank, is visible the small but picturesque town of Ramnagar, with the palace of the Raja of Benares. Opposite Ramnagar lies Lanka and the Hindu University. At the time of which I am telling, the ashram was much more charming than it is now. Its beauty was enhanced by a semicircular terrace protruding over the river, with two small, finely built temples on either side. The spacious hall below the terrace was used for religious gatherings such as kirtans, devotional singing, discourses, discussions on religious and philosophical topics. To the right and left of the hall were a few rooms to accommodate ashramites or guests. The whole ashram front with the terrace, the hall, the exquisite little temples, and the guest rooms had to be demolished some years ago since they were in danger of collapsing due to damage caused by high floods. At the time to which my story refers, some threatening cracks had already appeared. The hall could not anymore be used for public gatherings, and visitors were not allowed to go downstairs. Only a few inmates occupied some of the side rooms. I happened to be one of those fortunate ones. And I say fortunate, for I enjoyed the great privilege of living in solitude, right in the midst of that crowded ashram. My room, facing the Ganges, was near the Anandamayi Ghat. In the stillness of night, I frequently would sit in the hall near a window that opened out onto the river. Next to the ashram, on top of the ghat, is a small shrine dedicated to Sri Ganesh. Every year, the community of fishermen who live in the vicinity organizes a function that continues for 5 days. The celebrations begin on the 4th day of the bright moon of the month of the Margashirsha, which falls in November and December. On this occasion, a raised platform is erected over the ghat, while the lower is supported by wooden pillars. A canvas roof and canvas walls are pitched over the platform and beautifully decorated. Every evening, when their day's work is over, the devotees assemble in the pandal, where kirtan, devotional singing, and the recitation of scriptures continue until late at night. During one of those nights, I was, as usual, sitting in the hall, looking down at the river. Mother was not at Varanasi at the time. I could distinctly hear all that was being said or sung at the function on the ghat. Frequently, spiritual aspirants who start engaging in regular spiritual practice and live a secluded life become very sensitive to the vibrations of their surroundings. This was also the case with me at the time. But the loudness of the function did not disturb me at all, so long as it was of a religious nature. On the contrary, I listened with great joy and appreciation to the Nama Kirtan and the bhajans. But all other kinds of sounds or noise would sometimes upset me considerably. That night, I could observe that the mood of the people on the platform was gradually changing. Although I was unable to understand the words of their songs, Yet the tunes and the laughter of the audience gave me the impression that the celebration had taken a worldly turn. It was perhaps quite harmless, and moreover, my impression might have been wrong. But that night I seemed particularly sensitive and felt quite disturbed. In a prayerful mood, I said mentally, "In holy Kashi, on the banks of the Ganges, next to Sri Anandamayi Ma ashram, how can one possibly indulge in vulgar songs? They should at least sing the Mahamantra." No sooner had this prayer taken shape in my mind than I heard a mighty sound. I could even say that I saw the sound. It is a well-known fact that sound and form are intimately connected. There is a level of perception where the two mingle. The sound I heard was not uttered by any human voice. It had its own living personality. It came like a huge wave from the terrace of the ashram, flowed down into the hall, and finally enveloped the platform where the function was in progress. Although the wave had no definite shape, I somehow felt that it was connected with Mother's physical presence. The sound wave was uttering once only Haribol, which means repeat the name of the Lord, but not in the tune in which Mother usually sings these words. Here the voice was mighty and stern, like a rebuke or severe command. No sooner had the wave engulfed the platform when the people present stopped singing instantaneously. A blank silence prevailed for a few minutes. Then, without any transition, they began to chant, Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari, which is the first verse of the Maha Mantra. They continued with this for some time without singing the second verse about Hare Krishna. Later they sang Sita Ram, Sita Ram. And as far as I remember, the remaining part of the night was spent in Nama Kirtan. My prayer was a childish one and hardly deserved such a supernatural response. But very likely it was one of those psychological moments, a moment of conjunction, brought about by my interplay of various factors, in which the lesson so frequently forgotten could be hammered into the mind